Yeah, so we're gonna just do like
talking about
documentary. Oh, where's my gloves? Talk about documentary. I mean, like we can chat a little bit like loosely, but yeah. I mean, I'm just conscious that you want a job, so it's probably.
I don't ever want that job specifically, though.
Alright, fair enough. Is there anything you want to talk about, Luke, in particular? No,
I'm good.
Luton possibly going into Premier League.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit.
I mean that could quite easily age horribly. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Luton's Deadpool podcast with me, Luton's Deadpool, and my two special guests today from the There's More to Luton team. We've got Laura Fonda and we've got Luke Walsh. Do you know, for some reason I was paused because I was like waiting for applause or something. There we go. No, I'm joking.
Are we actually recording?
Yeah, we're actually recording.
When did you? No, I hate it when you do this.
Ages ago.
Round two.
Right. So Luton Town. Let's talk about Luton Town, Luke. How are you feeling about Luton Town? You're a good person to talk about Luton Town because you actually work there as well.
I do. I'm not much I can disclose about that, but yeah, this has been a insane season, and I think the fact that we are at a position where we are at time of recording third on the table with 4 games to go, still with a shout of automatic promotion, but almost guaranteed the playoffs, has been a testament to not only how Rob Edwards has carried the team post Nathan Jones, but also the way that the team has continued to grow throughout the season. I mean, we've if you'd said 12 months ago that Nathan Jones would go, Harry Cornick would go, and still we continue to stay strong within the top 6, I think a lot of people would doubt you. But
100%.
Yeah, I think we have done an incredible job, and I think a lot is now being said about making the dream of going to the Premier League a reality. A lot of time, as a Luton fan as yourself, is that the idea of going up has always been this one long fantasy of, we might need to go to the stadium with no history, and might need to do this, might need to do that. But actually, with Gary Speed coming out of the Today Show saying this needs to be done, £10 million of investment needs to be placed within 3 months, it makes it so much more doable. And I think we're at a point where we can realistically feel it. We can realistically taste the promotion and be sustainable in the Premier League. So who knows what the next 4 games will have? Whether it is the playoffs or automatic promotion, it's been one hell of a season. Whether we fail in the playoffs again, but we've got Super Robbie Edwards. Yeah. He knows exactly what we need.
No, mate, I have to agree with you, man. I mean, obviously I met Nathan before he left. I met him like 3 days before he left, right? Sorry, Laura, I know you've got no interest right now. I could see you just blankly staring at my face.
I'm so hyper. No, do you know what it is? I'm so hyper right now, and then you just talking about something. I'm like,
oh, okay. Well, we'll get something that you're interested in a little while. Don't worry. Me and Luke are interested in football. We're talking about this, and then we'll talk about what you want to talk about. Is that all right?
Unacceptable behaviour, really, from you.
Yeah, no. So I met Nathan at the Love Luton run, and it was really funny because he was Luton manager at the time. There was a bit of speculation about him going to Southampton, and I was like, I was just excited to meet him. He's done so much for the club, and when I got to meet him, I said all of that to him. I was like, "Thank you so much," and blah blah. And I ended it on like, and just do me one favour and just don't leave us again. It was a bad move before, it didn't work out. Like, we love you, stick with us.
Yeah.
And he looked me in my eyes, as best as he could. Obviously, I'm wearing a mask here. Looked me in my eyes, put his hand on my shoulder, and he was like, "I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere." Yeah. And then 3 days later, he was on Sky Sports having signed for Southampton. But
he needed to make that move.
Yeah, for himself.
I think.
Did he really? Because he's not doing a great job there, really.
Look, I'm hurt. Look, personally, forget about Nathan. I'm hurt right now because he looked me in my eyes and he lied to my face.
He can't really look you in your eyes.
He also did a 10K.
I saw his eyes making some kind of contact.
I mean, he also just ran a 10K, so like whatever. Anyway.
To be fair, that's a good point. He was probably quite delirious.
You can say whatever you want after. Anyway.
You can't say whatever you want after.
You can.
You can't be like, to your wife, I'm leaving you.
I mean, the blood's returning to Anyway, I'm not a scientist.
Really?
But yeah, I think he needed to make that move.
Hey, man.
And a lot of people in Southampton didn't give him the time and the chance.
Oh, they were on him straight away. Like, as soon as he got in that club, they literally were just onto him. Just, like, literally from day one. He didn't have a chance.
And, he did beat Man City in his time there. He did show times where he had the capacity to be a great manager.
But anyway, forget about Nathan Jones. We've got Super Robbie Edwards.
Yeah.
Like you say.
Like you're in the back Morrison attack, we're going to the Premier League.
100%. Mate, the way that we've been playing is just unreal. I'll be... Sorry, do you want to...
More importantly, the garden is open.
Oh, yeah. We're not going out there.
No, we're not going out there. Right.
Look, I've got a new location. We've got this beautiful sign.
No, I'm talking about next time we film for the documentary. We can... If we're up here... Garden.
Okay, great shout. Let's put that onto the calendar. We've got a group calendar
into
now.
The documentary.
Is that it? Are we done talking about Luton now?
No, Laura's decided that.
Okay, so we're talking about a documentary. The documentary's about Luton.
Basically, whatever Laura says goes. That's the working title of the documentary.
Laura's Way or the Highway.
No, but it's been fun. Do you know what? I've actually really enjoyed doing this.
Well,
we've been a bit lax recently, but we've got our reasons. We've had some stuff going on. Obviously,
we've all had stuff going on. I don't think any of us have not had shit in the last couple of weeks.
But it's nice that we're making plans again, and we've already got so much content. Man, when I really think about how many people we've interviewed and how many things we've gone to already, I'm like, we're not even halfway through the year yet.
I know, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Oh my god, it's going to get so much worse. And do you know what? So obviously over the summer holidays, I don't do fundraising over that time because it is just too hot for me to be out there for 4 or 5 hours.
I'm sorry, that's unacceptable behaviour.
Anyway,
I'm winding him up, by the way.
Because I don't normally do that. I know this summer we're probably going to be out quite a bit, and this is going to kill me for real this time.
Yeah, but we need to get it done, and it's important. We're trying to make sure. So, if you have an event, by the way, on, let us know. Because it's really annoying. This woman at the council, when I was at Big Iftar, came up to me and goes, "Oh, we've had these events on the last couple of days, and we meant to tell you about it, but we forgot." And I was like, "What do you mean you forgot to tell me?" I was like, "Don't come up to me and say that. And say that you forgot." But she was like, "We're doing it over the summer, so we'll let you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because obviously, some people know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that we've done enough to sort of let people know it's going on, but at the same time, we've probably got to knuckle down a little bit because there is a lot of work that we need to. Yeah, but he's tired because he's got a night shift.
Okay, look.
I've been bullied already about this weekend.
Let's reverse this. I think if you rewind 10, 15 years ago to how things used to be in Luton, there wasn't much going on. There wasn't many events to be going to.
Yeah.
And we're at a point where there is stuff going on. We've got Pride coming up. We've got the Carnival is back, and we've got
Eid on Friday.
We've got Eid. We've got
Saturday. Sorry,
Saturday. Later in the year, we've got Diwali, and we've got all these great events that come to Luton each and every year, which 10, 50 years ago weren't a thing.
Yeah.
And I think what we always emphasise within this documentary that it's such an exciting and prosperous time to be a Lutonian.
Oh, well, what about the news today that we are the 17th best place to live in the UK? Have you seen that?
I have not seen that.
Have you seen that?
To what study?
I don't care. We're not in the worst for once. I don't care.
We're not
17th best. 17th best out of I don't know, 50 or something. I don't know, man. But do you know what? For me, I take the wins. I hate the losses. Losses don't do us. They teach you a little bit about maybe the state of things, but when it comes to this whole game that the media are playing with our town, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. They either really love us, or they really hate us.
Yeah,
but I think you've got to just look at all the people that live in London that are now moving to here.
Yeah,
because it's close to London. To be actually quite an exciting place to live. Look at the amount of rent they're charging for some of these places, the new builds in town, especially those ones next to Luton Airport Parkway. Actually insane. It's more than what I pay where I live, which is
Yeah.
ridiculous because
Yeah.
I can travel into London in like 40 minutes. But it's mad, and people are wanting to move here. Like, it's so hard to rent here now.
Yeah.
It's so hard to buy a house here because they're just going like hotcakes. It's not like people don't want to live here. People are moving to this town. Like, it's a vibrant place, and people are coming. So it's not like all these people that go, "Oh, I lived here 10 years ago, and it's just as terrible as it was then."
No, you're so
It's not.
wrong. You've missed
It's not. You
out.
haven't
There's
been
been
here.
so much has happened. Like, just since like 2013 sort of time.
Yeah.
There's been a monumental shift in this town from being quite hard in some views of like some certain groups that we have here.
We won't name.
We won't talk about. We had some quite
You just
bad
leave it
people,
exist here now.
but then I feel like around sort of 2013 sort of time, we had like people like community interest pops up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had all these community people that started wanting to try and help people and do
Love
better.
Luton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that the same time? Was that similar?
I feel
same
like
time?
it was.
2010, 2011 when the city bid of 2012.
Okay, maybe I'm off a couple of years, but for me, like I started to notice that things were changing and it felt better. There is one thing that I feel like we are missing though in Luton. That's art, like around everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like
Leicester has like these paintings all over. It doesn't matter where you are. Like, even like they'll have like obviously all the like big football teams, because obviously they won the Premier League, which was like out of nowhere. No one expected that. They've got the rugby as well, and they have like art everywhere. And I think they need to do more of that, especially in Luton Town Centre. It's just so needed.
Yeah.
And, like, people like Ed Pole do like the most beautiful things like that could easily just be scaled up.
I was going to shout out Amy Ricks from Little Red Arts. I mean, what she done with in the arm down the outside and designing that.
Oh
Her
my
work
gosh!
is
What the
amazing.
big
Yeah.
mural,
Yeah,
with all the pictures. I'm on there like 3 times, I think.
Look at you.
Yeah, I've never
Mister,
actually.
I'm not that famous.
No, I've never actually like found myself on it.
Oh, you realise I'm going to find you.
Oh,
now.
and there's a picture of actual me on there as well.
Okay.
Oh, the hunter.
Oh.
I'm joking.
But,
there is some joking.
No, but like I agree. I think the art and culture sector, when we've got such a thriving and blossoming culture within Luton and the talent that we are producing, that it does not get showcased even close to enough. I mean, like again,
look at us talents.
People like Georgina Honorua, who's starring in the West End for Andrew Lloyd Webber. You've got people like
Olivia
Lynn, who's
true.
topping iTunes country charts, which is just mind-boggling. You've got NGYT and the people who come through there. Like, we could sit here and rattle off names and say, look, these are the names that are going to be the future. And if you said that 5-10 years ago, people go, "Oh yeah, we've got Paul Young." Like, Paul Young is past it now. These are the new names. These are the names.
Oh, you're going to upset some people there, Luke. He's going to upset some
30
people.
years, 30 years now.
I do not agree with any of these statements. I did not say anything.
30 years from now, we'll be talking about the names that we're talking about now.
I don't even think it's in 30 years. There's still big names from Luton. Look at...
No, don't say the bad ones.
No, I'm not saying the bad ones. I'm not saying... But, like, look at Louisa Compton. She's lived here. She's now the head of news at Channel 4, basically. The head of current affairs. Yeah, Louise Compton.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The commissioner for news and current affairs at Channel 4. And sport as well.
That's crazy.
And she started here. She worked at Luton News. Because we had a conversation when I met her, and she was she was telling me how much she loved living here.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice to hear.
Yeah, it is. But
That's
there's
nice
like big people. Like I said before, there's big names everywhere, but people just don't like associate them with Luton because they live elsewhere now. Yeah. But they're part of this town's history. Yeah. They're still big people. Yeah. Like this man here, part of this town's history. Luton's #1 radio DJ.
I would like to see you back doing some radio sort of stuff.
Yeah, if there's any radio stations, best radio DJ.
Get him out of the night shifts, please. We need him more available for documentary stuff.
For God's sakes, yes, please.
Oh my god!
But like even people like Justin Dooley. I think something.
Is he from Luton?
From Hemel Hempstead, but
he just loves us, don't he?
He does love.
Yeah, like when I talk to him, he really loves Luton.
He's my hero in so many ways, in the way that he again challenges every negative perception of Luton, and it's always first on the bandwagon to defend us. And I think people like him within media and journalism are such a rare breed, considering the current climate, which both of us have been through quite tough and frequently. So, yeah.
Oh, well, that's a point actually. Let's talk about that because you two have kind of some expert knowledge, and this is kind of why we're doing the documentary. A little bit, at the very least. No, but this is why we're doing the documentary, right? Because of the kind of gutter press that we experience in this country, where they don't really chase the truth; they chase a story. Do you know what I mean? And it does more damage than anything. So please,
should we talk about the publication?
Shall I start? Okay, so
just nothing you're going to get yourselves in trouble.
I'm not going to get myself in trouble for it. I was literally having this conversation with my friend the other day because he works for a publication that I won't name, but for like a media group, and he was like, "I'm really struggling with having to write what I'm writing because it's not like it's just nothing like it's not things that are important and that people care about." And he was like, "This isn't what I got into journalism for." And I said, "But it's like that in reality for all journalists. We're having to sell our soul a little bit because unless you're like a big enough name, like these big names that write for like the Daily Mail or these big names that political editors and things like that can say their opinion and write what they want. Unless you're in that big circle of those big names, you can't. You're literally at your editor's will, so you don't have." There's a little bit of a difference if you're doing sort of like documentaries and current affairs and that sort of thing. You do have a little bit more say in it because you can sort of like pitch stuff and bring ideas to the table. But I think especially if you're working in online media these days, it's not fun. It's not fun, and it's not fair on journalists because I think the big perception is that everyone blames the journalists and they're like, "Oh, the journalists are so terrible these days. They're so trapped. They don't do anything good." And it's like we don't get a choice in what we write. It's like exactly what I said to someone when they were like about to. I was like, "Please, no one lay into the journalists that are writing these crap town."
Yeah, you told me that recently, actually.
The crap town articles because they're not getting a choice about it. Then at the end of the day, they're at the will of their editor, and if they don't do it,
and
they don't do it. Look what happens.
But again, without saying too much too defamatory, again, we both experienced that, and when I've gone and Twitter and social media is such a terrible place where you get the backlash against this, and I've gone, hang on a second, with me and my soapbox, like. Actually, I'm writing these pieces which are showing that are good places in town. There are good things, and there is no mutual harmony between these editors and these higher ups that will understand. And even maybe it's because we're different. That's another discussion. But there's no new sense. There's no sort of.
You know how you said you were going to put the mics on the table?
Yeah. Luke's just beat the absolute
There's no mutual agreement. There's no two sides to the story.
Yeah.
There's only the one biased angle.
And do you know what? The sad thing is that I think everybody can see that. And, it's been, everybody talks about it. Like, I hear people talk about that stuff all the time. But yet, like, it frustrates me because I think that when you're like selling the product, whatever the product is, you've got to have your customer at the center of it, because you want to be making sure that you're giving them good stuff, right? So I'm like not sounding like I'm talking about media.
No, I know what you mean, but like when I was
but you know what I mean. So with them, they're producing the news, right? But they're not interested in the actual stuff that people want to know. They're interested in getting clicks because that's how they obviously make their money through advertisers. But and showing like the analytics of how many people clicked on a story and stuff like that, rather than what people take away from the story. Which I think if you could like motivate people to think of that first, I think that would save journalism.
I think I was quite lucky when I was working at certain places because I took it upon myself to do other projects. So when we were at Reach, there was the new audience champion, which I did, which because I was doing that allowed me a little bit more freedom to pitch other stories that I wanted to do a little bit more and kind of like, oh, it's under this. So it kind of made it a little bit easier for me. And obviously, like stupid things like I wrote a story about what's open late on Ramadan, and that got a ridiculous amount of views. And they were like, "Oh my god, how did you come up with this idea?" I was like, "It's advertised on Facebook. It would take like 5 minutes to write. All you've got to do is find all these different places. Yeah. It's the easiest story in the world." And then what? You're actually showing people that you actually care about their holidays and the important times of the year for them, not just the Christian holidays, not just whatever.
And I think even for Luton Town, we talked earlier about last season, and between my time at Reach, we were at the height of the growth of Luton Town, and we were having the best season we've had in God knows how many years, and there just wasn't any interest for me to push further into that and to cover it more, because they kept justifying, well, where's the audience? Well, Kendall Worth Road is 10,050 people every single week, and I see it for myself. There's an online audience of God knows how many thousands on Hatters Talk alone.
Yeah.
And they can't justify that. It's just absurd.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Like you say about like for just Luton Town fans, I think they make up such a huge number. How many people do Luton Town have actually following them on Twitter? It's quite a lot, isn't it?
Quite a lot.
It's at least like maybe half, maybe quarter of a mil.
Yeah.
Maybe quarter of a million people.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy, man.
That's about the population of Luton.
Yeah, that you wouldn't want to write some more stuff about that positivity. I mean, the good thing is we've got like places like Luton News that write a hell of a lot about our team.
I feel like, but in all fairness, I feel like, no offence to them, but they were dying a death when we were at Reach.
Yeah.
And we came along and we kind of turned it around and started doing more stuff related to Luton and different ideas and different angles on it. And then now they've come out and sort of like upped their game really massively, and it's great to see, because they were a really good local newspaper. Like when I was younger, I remember reading that all
same.
the time.
Same, yeah, me too.
All the time. Yeah, all of them.
100%,
But
it's the same thing though. Luton News and Herald Post are the same.
Yeah, exactly.
entity,
It was
right?
always like a big thing. It was something you read and you got all your local news from it. And it's about, the problem is social media these days, like, has so much out there, and it's so hard to work through what is truth and what is fiction, especially when you're a news reporter. And it's so difficult because people will be like, why are you not reporting on this? And it's like, well, because I can't actually verify that it's true. I can't just write whatever I want. It doesn't work like that. There's laws.
Yeah.
Certain laws. And also you don't want to get sued. So that's a big thing.
I think that people should write more, local stuff anyway, in general, because, like you say, it's easier to prove that then, isn't it? Because it's actually on your doorstep, you can go and do the research. It's not like, when we talk about world affairs and someone who's sitting at a desk in London is writing about stuff that's going on in, I don't know, like Syria.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, my friend was literally talking to me about that the other day, because she works in like reality check at the BBC. So they make like little videos that kind of disprove or like prove whether something's actually accurate or not. And they're doing a lot about the South Sudan situation at the minute. No, not South Sudan. Sudan situation. Is it South Sudan? So behind with the news because I've just been like out of that way. It's one of the two. Yeah. It's one of the two. But they're doing like explains about that, and she was like explaining like there's like a new job that's up, and it's like you're producing videos, but you've got to make it so that it can be translated into all these different languages by the different hubs. So like we'll make a video centrally in London, and then it'll get sent out to the language hubs like in New Delhi, somewhere in Lagos, whatever, and translated into the local languages, so that then they can put that up on their local social media, so that people can actually understand it, rather than it just being in English and no one understanding.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because that's the point of a public broadcaster, is that we're supposed to help everyone, no matter where they are based in the world, and give them access to kind of unbiased, like actual, what's it called? What's accurate?
Impartial news,
yeah, accurate and impartial news. Oh my god, I've actually forgotten how to be a journalist.
I thought that was quite good, personally. I thought it was quite good.
I'm good at talking about this shit because it's something I'm passionate about. Sorry, I'm just swearing.
Yeah.
I'm good at it because I care about it, and it's it's something I really care about, and I do want to like do a PhD in it eventually. Particularly, like I want to do a PhD in how the British press has treated Muslims over the years, and then how that has affected how we as a society see Islam and everything. That's my kind of planned PhD eventually.
Okay,
Eventually,
no,
got to get a few more years of work done.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the town that write about Islamophobia, and especially like within the media. You know, I've spoken to Bassett. I speak to him a lot about that sort of stuff, and it's just crazy because it's almost like it's set up for it to happen, because you know, by not having minority voices in the media, you kind of get a biased viewpoint then when someone like that is not from that background writes about that background. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people from different countries. You know, say if you was writing something about a Chinese festival, for instance, it would probably be better to have a Chinese person write it, right? And only because they're going to have more of a connection to the festival. They'll speak about it in a deeper, more beautiful, more profound way, right?
I don't know, because I think maybe it's because we're from the town we're from and it's so diverse, and I feel like we're probably more knowledgeable than most people.
Because you've actually been around it. Because we've been
exposed to things for so many years,
and
we're so used to it. Like,
that's pretty accurate.
I feel like I could write something about the Muslim community accurately and unbiasedly because I know that community.
And because you've got friends, you can talk to them, you can get
my child's father.
And I think, like, going back to a few years ago when we had the Child City of Culture thing, we had People Power Passion, and being a part of that project and being, doing Justice 39 and what spawned off that during that summer, we had national theatre writers come to Luton, which is great. And I think for us as the artists and the actors I got to work with were amazing, but they were still coming from London and writing pieces about Luton, which were fine, but they weren't authentically.
Yeah,
and I get you. At the end of the day, it was there was so many other problems with that, which I won't sort of divulge and go into. But you said it best. It had to have come from Luton writers, from Luton people, to tell the story of Luton. And when we're talking about the Peace Day riots of 1919, stories like that should come from the people themselves, not from the outside of.
Yeah, because you're gonna get a perspective that doesn't match up. Like the actual history of what happened. Yeah.
I mean, like the media is dominated anyway with a lot of privately educated.
Yeah, see, this is what I wanted to say about because Bassett told me that it's
the worst industry.
95%.
Yeah,
something like that.
The worst. Like you can go to when you go to the BBC, you can see the difference between people that are in the lower band jobs, so the band B jobs, which is like. It's like the equivalent to band 2 in the NHS. If anyone works in the NHS will understand that. It's equivalent to a band 2 in the NHS. So it's like a HCA level. It's the only way I can describe it. The people there are the more working class people in those bands. And then it's very rarely anyone that isn't privately educated at some point or went to a selective grammar school or, grew up in a very nice house in London and is, from a very middle class background and has connections.
Yeah.
That usually gets there, and then they go to Cambridge or Oxford, and then they do their masters at City, and that's your pathway into journalism, and then you're done. Easy. You're getting jobs left, right, and centre. And it's so hard if you're coming in from a working class background because these people can work the whole time for free, or they have connections anyway that mean that they can write for big publications, and because mum or dad knows someone, and then it's so much easier for them to get into the industry. When you're in a working class background, you're having to go for these jobs that are paying you 20k, which isn't a livable wage.
Yeah,
especially like
right now, definitely not. I remember when I got a job for 20k when I was like in my early 20s at one point, and I was like, oh my god, I'm rich.
No,
I couldn't believe it, but not anymore.
And it's just so disappointing because the middle class people, they don't understand the world. They don't understand the UK in general. They don't know what it's like to live in poverty. They have no concept of it. So they've got people writing about the cost of living crisis.
They're not
worrying at night whether they can pay their gas bill.
They probably don't have many people they're connected with that.
No.
I mean, we're like kind of just making assumptions here. But
No,
at the same
but
time,
it's not.
it's probably
It's
a fair
not.
assumption, isn't it?
It's not. It's not even a biased assumption. It's a fact. It's a fact that, like, if you look at the statistics, the NUJ's done work on this. Like Bassett said, it's 95%. It's not diverse. You can have diversity when it comes to race, religion, all of that. But if everyone is middle class, that is not diverse. That is not diverse at all. That's not a diverse youth group, because what someone's walk of life, if they're from a different background, even if they're not white, if they're middle class or they're upper class, their walk of life is going to be a lot different to someone that is working class from that.
And then let's face it as well, like, look at the state of journalism right now, yeah? How bad the stories are that come out. Do you know how disappointed I am every time I click on a story I'm reading? I'm like, oh wait, your headline was bullshit. What you wrote in your headline was a flipping lie, and then everything that I've just wrote is like, that I've written, wrote,
Right.
bloody hell, inspired, man. Oh, you caught me sleeping when you first come in. Give me a break. Everything that I've just read is like just a complete fabrication. You know, then not only that, you find other stories that then conflict with it, and it's like, it's really hard to know what's true.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard, because you've got big news organisations that get a lot of money. Like, you know, you've got, on one hand, you've got like GB News,
Yeah.
which is like, I find that really hard to watch. I find that really hard to watch. And then you've got like the BBC or Sky, that are kind of like two opposing viewpoints. Yeah, I feel like Sky and BBC are more left-leaning, and GB are more right-leaning. No, I feel like they
Please
are.
don't say the BBC is left-leaning.
I kind of feel like they are a little bit, though.
Please let me be able to get a job in the future.
Let's just say.
It's hard to know. No, do you know what? I'm an idiot. I don't know.
Disclaimer. Let's just say that GB News is more nationalistic.
Nationalistic?
Nationalistic.
Oh, we've got Sean Connery here.
Oh, yeah.
You're having a strike.
And they have their own patriotic agenda. But
Do they?
It does feel like it.
It's not like they play the national anthem every single morning. And yeah, they have their own thing going on. But I think
no, but that's what I mean. Like, you've got them and you've got the BBC, and they often say things that are contrary.
But
you know,
we live in this sensationalist era. We live in a Fox News era where in America you tune into any news outlet and they come with their own hot takes. You've got people like Tucker Carlson in America who is allowed to freely express his Republican opinions. You have.
I'm just thinking about.
And the same on the other side with like CNN or whatever.
I'm just thinking about something like.
But that's what I mean. Like, I don't get why
the UK are trying to emulate that.
I don't get why we try and do that, because it's shit. Like, I don't like that. I don't know why anyone would. I think all they're doing is they're just appealing to a basic human instinct to be tribalistic. That's it.
You have to remember these corporations are owned by the same people.
Oh yeah.
Ultimately, Rupert Murdoch owns Sky, and he also owns Fox.
Yeah.
You know, he owns a lot, and the Sun, you know, the Times, all of these places.
This is why, honestly, I do not consume any of them.
Do you know what?
I really don't.
It's
I don't
important.
pay any of them attention.
As a journalist, it's important for me to look at everything.
Yeah, of course.
Because the same story can be done so many different ways depending on what paper it is. Like the Guardian is going to report something completely differently to how the Daily Mail reports something.
But this is the thing. This is why.
I did the whole essay on this about Shamima Begum and how the Sun reported it differently to the Guardian.
When I think about like that, there are these many different points of view on the same subject.
Yeah.
Like a shooting happens. Yeah. And then you've got one viewpoint on this side, you've got one viewpoint on this side, you've got someone else who's got another viewpoint. But what actually happened? That's all I care about. Do you know what I mean? That's all I care about.
Yeah.
What happened? What were the circumstances? That's what you're supposed to do as a reporter. You're not. Everybody's putting their bloody personal opinions on it.
But it shouldn't be. That's the whole point. A journalist isn't supposed to do that. You are supposed to be impartial. Don't get me wrong. Doesn't matter where you work.
Yeah. You
can work for the BBC. BBC journalists still have an opinion. They just don't publicly voice it because they're not allowed to.
Yeah.
But, you know, we all have opinions at the end of the day. We're allowed to. And if anything, journalists are probably the most opinionated people of all because we're nosy as hell and we just care about what we do. But if you're a decent journalist, you should be impartial. You should care about impartiality. That's the whole thing. It's the biggest thing that you're taught in uni.
Especially when it's something that matters.
Yeah.
Like the cost of living, you know.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of right-wing press when Boris was coming out saying, "Oh, just get a new kettle and it will save you £10 a year." and the Conservative types were like, "Yeah, no, that's completely reasonable advice."
Or that bag of oatmeal that will last you 10 days. What are you on about? You can live off oatmeal for
30p Lee as well. What did he say? Something about
it was
30p.
about like I think it was like something like rice or pasta. You can live off pasta, and everyone was like, "What? Just plain pasta then?"
Yeah.
What 30 days? Now pasta's like nearly not £1. It's not 30p anymore.
Yeah, exactly,
I don't know where you get 30p pasta from.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just going around. So again, the point remains that journalism at the moment is such a different landscape to the one that we both were coming in from 6-7 years ago.
But then this is why we're doing the documentary.
This is why the documentary is here, and I think it's such a great project to be a part of and work on, to show that not only give a positive, uplifting, motivational piece to Luton to say this is a great place to live and these are the great people who are making it the place that it is, but also for us to show as journalists to say that actually these are the stories you're missing out on, these are the people that you're missing out on, and these are the people that have been underrepresented.
He is the reason why I brought him on, because he is much better at this than me.
Oh,
I'm going to big him up.
No, I learned it.
Do you know what? I'm going to big him up today because he gets annoyed at me when I say this, because I bully him a lot. We know this.
Don't bully kids.
Don't bully. I don't bully him in a bad way. I'm just like, can you stop being a dick? He knows that I think he's a fantastic journalist. We are two very different journalists. Like, completely. Like, if you ask me to cover a court case, he's pissed me.
Yeah,
if you ask him to do it, he's not doing it.
Yeah.
Point blank. But
or like, if for instance you say to someone, "Oh, can you come and interview someone at a school or something?"
Yeah.
And then you come up with no preparation whatsoever.
How dare you say? How dare you make me sound?
Hey, no. I don't as well.
Shots fired.
I don't as well, yeah. But I'm not a journalist. And it's kind of like with Luke as well. When we was at the mayor's office and Luke was with the fairies.
But I knew he was going to be fine.
But then he spat fire.
It made me laugh because I could see you getting annoyed and trying not to. And I was like, just trust the process with Luke, because he may look like he's not paying attention, but that's just Luke. But he is taking every single
conversation.
Word in. Yeah.
If it's what everything of this, our trade, of our degrees, and your awards, it all boils down to the art of conversation.
Yeah. It is.
And
I'm very good at getting things out of people.
That's why you're an award-winning investigative journalist. Yes, that's why I'm the radio DJ. Yes, that's.
No, it's not like that. But we have very different techniques. You're very good at
saying it how it is.
Yeah, you're very good.
You're good at fluff.
Yeah, he is good at fluff. You are really good at fluffy journalism and like nice stories.
You are. It is your forte, without a doubt.
It is
Nice stuff.
And this is why I was struggling with it. Like, I wanted to do this documentary, and I've had to put myself in a comfort zone that I'm not too used to, because I'm not good at this in the slightest.
You've been really good.
I've been trying.
You've been growing into it, because when we first started, you was like, I don't know what to say.
I still don't know what to say all the time.
Because we was entering into a place, you was like, I only have negative questions to ask.
Well, this is the problem. Like, there's sometimes when we be interviewing people, and I'm like, I know stuff that I want to ask them about.
Hey, then.
You always put me on. Like, I know stuff that I want to ask them about, and I'm like, I can't. We're being positive. Yeah. We're only doing positive. Laura, you need to stay in your lane for once in your life. You need to stay in your lane and be positive and solely positive. Like, I was watching someone like argue with a police officer, and I found it hilarious, because I was like, the police were laughing at him. He was laughing at the police, but it was actually quite funny in a weird way. But yeah, it's like little things like that just make me like, oh, I'm fluent, in a weird way. Because like, if it was anywhere else, they'd probably like been really
been really nasty.
Yeah, and like it would just.
Do you know what? I talk to so many coppers, and like, there's some really great police officers in our town. We're really
there's
lucky.
so many. I can't name those.
Big up to Beds Police. Big shout out to them, and to the big man Festus as well.
Yeah, but
Sorry, did I
Yeah,
just
no,
kill
no,
the
no, no.
moment?
I killed my man.
By bigging up the police, now I've got a lot of people like, you just fucking talk nicely about the police.
Yeah, like, you're all right.
No, it's true though. Like,
No,
do you
I know,
what? I know that the police do cause problems in many ways. As many as they solve, they probably create as many, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think that that's a lot of the time intentional. I think there's a lot of good people who are trying. And my gosh, there was one copper that he was telling me that, you know, he's a sergeant in the gangs unit, right?
Yeah.
And he told me that when he does a 12-hour shift, yeah, and even if he stretched that and doubled it and done a 24-hour shift, there would still be jobs to do.
Not enough time.
Yeah, there would still be jobs to do after that. He was like, the caseload is just insane. You wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't actually believe it. And this is the thing. You know what? Like, I don't ever want to spend too much time talking about the negative stuff in Luton, but there is negative stuff in Luton. Like, there's sad things that happen. Like, a young man died recently.
Yeah,
a young man was stabbed just down the road from me.
The other day. No, not even the other day. Today.
All the flowers are there.
Like, literally, I was driving past it today, and I was in such a good mood. Like, I felt like I was home. Like, I was happy. I was happy to be in Luton, and I drove past that, and it just like it hits you. Like, there are some times where it's like,
And do you know what?
Yeah.
My personal belief is that the things like that are happening are influences from outside the town. Personally, I think we do have crime problems in Luton, but a lot of the time it's crime coming into Luton, it's criminals coming into Luton. That's a hell of a lot of it. People coming up from London.
I don't entirely agree. I think there's always been issues, but there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work going towards it, but there has always been issues in Luton, gangs and things like that. That's like, we can't shy away from that. We can't shy away. There are gangs in Luton, and they still operate to this day, but it's nowhere near the level it used to be, and nowhere near as bad as it used to be. And I think there are outside influences from London, but I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as like places like Bedford. Bedford's really struggling at the minute because they are getting a lot of county lines and things like that. That's why Bedford's going through its phase that it's going through at the minute, because they're having really bad problems. Whereas like Luton, because it sounds terrible to say this, but in a good way, because they had gangs in the first place and the whole like kind of set up in the first place, it's been very hard for county lines to kind of come in. But though, you know, I don't think that sounds really bad to say. That sounds really terrible. But you get what I mean. I think we haven't been hit as bad as other towns have, because we had that.
People would definitely make you believe that we was worse for it.
Yeah.
But like I say, you know, when I speak to some of my friends, you know, I know a lot of people who you know, how can I put this?
No, don't.
Don't
put it in anyway.
I won't put it anyway. I know some people, and
we all know
when
some people.
When they tell me the things that are going on, like they tell me a lot of the time that it's people from outside. That's what they say. They say a lot of the time that's where a lot of the drama is coming from.
I mean, you just got to look at Sol Murray, murder recently.
That was three people from out of London.
No,
4 people from London.
Yeah, they'd all come from London, and they'd all kind of set him up and all over a watch that they wanted to steal.
Yeah.
It didn't even turn out to be real. And a man lost his life because of that.
But this is why we're doing what we're doing. Because, sorry to just cut that off, because like, you know, ultimately it's like there's enough people talking about that stuff. Yeah,
we don't need anyone.
We don't need to add more to the fire of it. Yeah, because it's like ultimately what we achieving. You know, the only way things can get good is through people doing good stuff. Right?
And there's so many people doing good stuff, and we don't.
Wait, let me just check the camera. I've just realised.
Oh my god! Also, as well, let me turn this on.
No!
Are you joking?
Oh my god! Oh.
You're a dickhead. I'm actually.
Both of you have a terrible sinking feeling just then.
I was just like, fucking. I was like, no, just not. I'm not doing this again.
That was good. That felt good. I'm sorry.
No,
we can
this
talk
is what
properly.
he's like to work with. Everyone thinks he's so great. No, I'm joking, but he's really a pain in the ass.
Oh, thanks for that.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
I do try. I like to.
I know you're smiling right now.
Yeah, because you know.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, this is actually quite funny because no, I'm not going to tell about that one because that was embarrassing.
No, okay, but
No, I'm not
I
saying
think, no, in
that.
general, like, no, okay. But I can
That
tell.
was funny.
No, there's other times as well. Like, I can tell when you're smiling or not. Oh, no, it was.
Should we do a face thing now? Like, you try and guess what faces I'm making. Hold on. Wait, hold on.
You're doing a straight face right now.
Yeah, hold on.
This.
You're slightly smiling
What am I
a
watching?
little bit.
What am I watching?
Right.
No.
He's sticking his. I don't know.
I'm sorry, do you feel left out, Luke?
No, I don't know what I'm witnessing.
Oh, yeah, we're doing a podcast. That's probably not good viewing, is it? It's
Are we
probably
still
not good viewing.
recording? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think it's still recording.
Oh.
It looked like it. I don't think I can play the same joke twice as well, so I'm not going to go back.
No.
I'm pretty sure it's still working.
Oh, okay.
I need to do the school run in a minute as
You
well.
do need to do a school run. No, this has been fun, though.
But I think, like, one thing I will say is that I bullied these two into doing it with me.
Yep.
Bullied's a strong word. I didn't. I was
Bribed.
like, bribed, yeah.
No,
bribed.
you literally was like, I've got a thing I want to do. And I was like, yep, I'm in.
I didn't even tell you. I was like, you were like, yeah, I'm doing it. I was like, okay, sure, you don't want me to tell you because
So,
I could
no,
be literally like,
I'm in.
I could be like,
Working title,
I
whatever Laura says goes. Yeah, that's,
Yeah, I had to learn that the hard way as time's gone on.
yeah, I've become
No, it's very good. It's very good to have
I've
someone
become
that's
your
organising
PA,
stuff. for me,
basically,
yeah,
yeah.
essentially, yeah.
essentially,
Yeah,
which is
it's been really helpful for me.
Has
Because,
it really?
Yeah, because now I've offloaded part of my brain, and that means that I'm able to do more fun stuff.
he said he's offloaded part of his brain, but it's become very stressful for me to kind of know what's going on.
somebody has to.
Yeah,
Yeah, someone has to.
yeah.
Yeah, someone has to. And
Yeah. It's been helpful. It has
Yeah.
been helpful. But, you know,
It's not been helpful for me.
no, but this has been great. Can you guys give a big up and a shout out to where
Well done,
people can
Luke.
find out? No, not to Luke.
I'll take it. I'll
You're
take
a
it.
great journalist, sorry.
No. Can you
Where
talk
to find
about
the
where to find the
documentary?
documentary? Yeah, it's not out yet. You know, we're still making
Work in progress.
But we're going to do outtakes and shit like that.
There's more to Luton on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, YouTube,
TikTok.
wherever, TikTok, all the things.
And
LinkedIn, Bebo.
LinkedIn,
I don't know.
Bebo?
MySpace.
MySpace, yes, come on.
I mean, me and him are showing his operations.
Yeah, I think you said it right at the start of a conversation. It feels a long time ago.
Yeah.
We have only just really started with the documentary. There's still
We
so much
haven't
to go.
just started.
No, but we've got
We've got so much
so much
already.
more to do.
There
that
goes
it
beating
feels
up
like-
the table again.
We've still got so much more to do. So yeah,
But we will see everyone at all the Eid festivals this weekend, whether it be on Friday or Saturday, Eid Mubarak. And we also see us in George's Day, though he won't be there because he's
Yeah, I
London
am.
Marathon. Well, the London Marathon.
I'm going there
Sunday.
first.
Oh, okay, he will be there.
What? How rubbish a PA is this? Oi, whoa. I don't actually hear it. No, I do. I'm not allowed to say that. Kids think I'm rude.
there's more to Luton.
There's more to Luton.
There's more to Luton!